Welcome, everybody, to the show. Joining me is our regular co-host and fellow traveler, Dan the Dan Noodles, man, the foghorn leghorn of Wargaming. How's it going, Dan?
I take it.
That's right.
Hey, you know, Ardy, you told me to shut up about something, and I'm going to shut up about something. I'm not going to name any names, but that's one entitled son of a bitch.
Yeah, don't be an asshole. That's our moral message of the day today, folks. Don't be an asshole. And if you think that you might be about to be an asshole, rethink that. So, all right, folks, we're going to talk about Wargaming soundtracks. What kind of music do we like to listen to while playing war games? Please pipe up in the chat with opinions, because I don't like to listen to music during war games.
I can't listen to music when I'm playing a game. If I'm playing a game,
I'm trying to concentrate.
To the music, for God's sakes, man.
Okay, so what? Well, okay, that's fair. So I think that's completely reasonable. I think find it a little distracting. However, this doesn't really make sense. But I do have this like little charming thing that we do at Winterfest. This is not a me thing. This has been going on for many years before I started going. Where they have a TV set up in the corner of the room, a big TV with couches and stuff in front of it, and they play war movies all week while we're playing war games. Yay! So you can kind of hear it, and it is a little distracting, but it's also kind of charming. So when I assembled the war room back here, I made sure I put in a TV, and a much smaller TV, and a DVD Blu-ray player, so that we can have the Winterfest type experience in my basement. And I was pretty happy with that. Okay. So are we saying, Mike, that you don't listen to music, or that you like the Sound of Silence? But if you do like the Sound of Silence, which version? What do you think of that? Who was that recently did a cover of the Sound of Silence?
I don't like it.
I think it's okay, but I think the Simon and Garfunkel version is better, frankly.
No, yeah, of course. The thing is that there's too much emotion in already. If you listen to the lyrics, perfectly emotive. And this guy's bringing it out. You know what you're doing? You're stroking me after the fact.
Yeah, this is a great idea. And Pat Mullinax, who's the designer of Hot Dry Season, which is a game about Vietnam, put together a playlist that he likes to listen to during Vietnam gaming, and it's a pretty good playlist. And there were some deep cuts. I don't remember what all was on there, but there were some deep cuts on there too. It's not just Paint It Black played on repeat for 10 hours at a time.
That's the album by the Strawbs I bought. Deep cuts. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to tell me the Rolling Stones album that Paint It Black was on. I don't even know what album that was on.
I only bought one Rolling Stones album in my whole life.
Rolling Stones are one of those bands that I think is better than we give them credit for. They did some really pretty cool stuff. And I think The Who, on the other hand, is overrated. I know that probably will result in hate mail.
Ardy, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say that, what was the band before The Who we're talking about?
The Rolling Stones?
Yeah, Rolling Stones. They're a party band. Yay. Let's drink, get stoned, and have an orgy.
Yeah, a lot of it is, but they did a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't hear because it never got radio play. The Who is the same way, by the way. There's some pretty cool Who stuff that's not doesn't get played on the radio.
Well, I mean, I've The Who, I find the band a little bit more, if you can say the word, serious than the Rolling Stones. But you know what? So are the Stones. They're serious.
Sure.
Wrong word to use. Have you seen The Who?
Live? No. I have seen remarkably few artists live, actually. By the time it became a thing that I was interested in doing, the ticket prices started to get unreasonable. So I had like a 10-year period there where I was going to concerts because they had not yet become unreasonable. There's a lot of missed opportunities there that I could have gone. And so I could have gone and seen Yes during that decade, and I didn't. And that was dumb because I don't believe you're going to be able to get that experience again. When John Anderson did a tour last year with the Band Geeks, they were amazing, but they weren't anywhere near here. So it was like, I could drive to Chicago, and that just wasn't it. Maybe it was 2 years ago. It just wasn't happening.
I saw Yes with Trevor Horn.
There you go.
On vocals, fantastic. And then I saw the same type show with John Anderson singing, and it raised it up a little bit. You know what I mean? Strip Point's a genius.
This is the great thing about Nevsky, the game, is it does have a built-in soundtrack already, which is Prokofiev's movie soundtrack from the old Soviet film, which is marvelous, by the way.
Oh, okay, I see. By the way, William, for Nevsky, I wrote a piece of music for Nevsky for Volko. And Volko was coaching me what he wanted, this and this and that. If you want it, I'll send it to you, man. I think you're gonna like it.
Oh, I'd like to put a video out for that or something, man. I'd like to hear that.
And what am I gonna do? Strip naked and play the music?
Well, just have some images of some shit, you know, in the background and play the music. I don't care.
Come on, when I do something, I do it with heart, Ardy. What are you saying?
So, YouTube for playlists. This is a good idea. I don't typically use YouTube for music, although there's people that do, and there's like an option if you're like on the premium plan or whatever it is, where you can like just hear the sound. But I use Spotify for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
you know what? The thing is that there actually is. I don't know if it's on Spotify or on Amazon.
Which Sabbath?
I wouldn't play Sabbath while I'm playing Advanced Squad Leader.
No, me neither. I wouldn't be able to think straight. But if we're talking about Sabbath, which Sabbath is the best Sabbath? I'm shooting for
Squad Leader.
I'm shooting for the Heaven and Hell era Sabbath personally.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Because you're a youngin.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Dan, I'm like 5 years younger than you.
Well, you're a youngin.
So I love this piece of music. I have an old CD that I got at a yard sale or something like that of this piece of music from Prokofiev's Romeo and Juliet, which is a very different experience from the Tchaikovsky Romeo and Juliet, by the way. And this is my favorite piece off the whole thing. And on some versions, this piece of music is called The Death of Mercutio, which is just a fantastic name.
Hey, do you know how old Prokofiev was when he got accepted at the Royal Russian Academy of Music in Composition?
Couldn't have been very old because there wasn't a Royal Russian anything after 1917.
So how old do you think he was, man? Go low.
14.
Go low.
14.
9.
There you go. Where
have all these brains gone, man?
Mike Berticelli wants you to do some Wolfpack music. Dan, I need you to listen to the soundtrack to Das Boot for inspiration for this.
I know, that's fantastic, man. Are you kidding?
That's a good soundtrack, too. Fantastic. That's a great movie, but it's also a good soundtrack.
You know, the ambient text,
So the soundtrack from Excalibur is a variety of different classical music, but the two signature pieces are Orff's Carmina Burana, which is, of course, great. And that's my favorite use of music in the whole movie.
I performed that.
That's awesome.
I did the xylophone.
My favorite scene in the whole movie is when Percival brings the Holy Grail to Arthur and makes him drink from it, and he is given new life, and he gets up and orders his knights to ride to battle again, and they're riding through the countryside, and the trees are blooming, the dead trees are blossoming again. It's fucking amazing.
Where's Helen Mirren in that?
But she plays Morgan Le Fay in that. But the other signature piece of music is Siegfried's Funeral March by Wagner, which is also used at the beginning and at the end of the movie. And that's a really cool piece of music, too. When Percival throws the sword into the water and kind of turns away, and then he turns back, and then the sword, the Lady of the Lake's arm with the sword is gone, but there's Arthur being ferried off to the Isle of Avalon. It's awesome. That's a fantastic movie, anyway.
Do you know Carmina Burana? Because Carmina Burana is like a Sgt. Pepper's. That's how easily you remember it. Do you know about Carmina Burana?
I mean, it's based off, the lyrics are in Latin, and it's based off an... Yeah, and it's based off a dice array or something like that. That's like a piece of medieval music.
What I meant to say is, do you know what the musical... I'm gonna fucking...
If you're gonna ask me a technical musical question, then the answer is no.
Okay, so screw that. So the xylophone when you hear the xylophone, that's the man's testicles falling down. That's what it is.
Okay. Anyway,
it is, man.
The Bee Gees are a dancing band. This is
the Bee Gees, boy.
The Conan the Barbarian Basil Polidorus soundtrack is an amazing soundtrack as well. That's one of the. Really?
Yeah, I swear to God.
Do you have Amazon Prime Video?
Yes, I have Amazon Prime Video.
Well, I'm giving you homework.
They're screwing me on the 2-day express their postage.
I'm not talking about that. I'm saying go watch Conan the Barbarian. Last I checked, it was on there. So there you go. This is a different movie, however. There you go. Patchwork Pictures is upset. I didn't knock the Stones. I mean, I said the Stones are a better band than I usually give them credit for.
I'm not knocking the Stones. I'm just saying they're a garage band.
Yes, this is absolutely right. He cast both of them on purpose because they friggin' hated each other. And Nicole Williamson's pretty brilliant in Excalibur as well. Of course, this is a great choice. I mean, you have the Tchaikovsky 1812 overture. That's Tchaikovsky, right, Dan?
Yes. No.
Okay.
Yes.
So, that was written to commemorate the Battle of Borodino, right? That's why there's cannons in it. So this is the thematically and historically appropriate music for wargaming, in my opinion.
Can I tell you a story about the 1812 overture?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
When I was in my orchestral days.
Okay.
Okay, so I was in charge of playing the cannons, right? And since we didn't have any real cannons...
It's the best job at the place, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I was in charge of the cannons and the timpani. Anyways, the cannons were done on a keyboard. So, and I remember we actually played it well as a pickup band. And this was when I say a band, I'm talking about 50, 60 people here. And I remember the conductor.
So an orchestra.
I said, yeah, well, whatever. So the conductor's really getting into it, man. And I'm watching him because I'm waiting for my cue. And his baton, he had a baton, hits his what the hell you call it? There's a...
Like the podium?
Yeah, where you put your manuscript. Christ.
Yeah, what I know what you're talking about. Right.
Hits the music stand, and there's cork and fiberglass. So you have to understand it does this, right? And it's coming right for me, man. It's going to hit me right in the head. Right in the head.
Did you dodge that flying piece of debris like George W. Bush?
I dodged it, but at the same time, the weight of the cork flicked it so it didn't hit me, but it went right in the F-hole of the viola player. Right in the F-hole, and it went waka-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. I swear to God.
That's actually hilarious.
Everybody heard it. That's a funny orchestra story, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, if you want to hear actually very good Conan music, and you want more than the Basil Polidorus original soundtrack to the movie, check out, Spotify has this, check out the Conan video game music for Age of Conan and Conan Exiles for Funcom. They're both very much in the same vein as the Basil Polidorus soundtrack. It's very good video game soundtrack.
Well, Christopher Lee has 4 heavy metal albums.
I am aware of that.
And it's all about history, man.
There was a meme about it, in fact. So I like the soundtrack to A Bridge Too Far, too. I mean, it's kind of like super conventional. What's that?
Isn't that Jerry Goldsmith?
No, it's somebody that I have no real knowledge of other than, damn it. I'm trying to remember who did it.
Miklos Rosa?
No. Shit. It's not Jerry Goldsmith, though. It's somebody that hasn't done a lot of other work that I've heard. But it's very good music. Kilroy was here. You haven't missed anything.
What did he miss? You know what you missed? Kilroy was here. Robert Carroll is a shot. I can't even say it because we're going to get banned.
I'm not even going to ask. Robert is aware of the situation. I'm not even going to ask which version of All Along the Watchtower we're talking about here, because there is only one great version of All Along the Watchtower.
Relax.
And that's the Hendrix version. Well, I got a point here. Dan's heard this before, and I'm not sure I've ever said it live. I actually like the Neil Young version of All Along the Watchtower, but he's not trying to play it like Jimi Hendrix either.
No.
And there's a reason nobody does that, because nobody can be Jimi Hendrix, okay? Lenny Kravitz did a performance of All Along the Watchtower in the style of Jimi Hendrix. Now, Lenny Kravitz is a super talented, terrific musician, but he couldn't quite manage it on its own. So he needed a backup. He needed another second guitarist to help him. And only together could they get the Jimi Hendrix All Along the Watchtower. The second guitarist was Eric Clapton. That's the only way it could work. So this is a very fine piece of music, too.
Good timing, Ardy. Let me tell you something.
Oh, boy.
Those two guitarists, look, Hendrix played it because it's from the soul.
Hendrix was a unique genius.
Yeah, but hold on a second, genius. Mm-hmm. Just really, really freaking stoned, eh?
Okay.
Yeah, and that does shit to you, man.
I would assume so.
And we were talking. What did you say before Hendrix? We were talking about. Christ! Oh yeah, All Along the Watchtower, Dylan or Hendrix. Now, this flight tonight, Nazareth or Joni Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? Two different pieces. Two excellent pieces.
I'd have to check that out. There are a few Bob Dylan songs where I feel like the Bob Dylan song is the definitive version, but not very many. Even what may be the signature Bob Dylan song, "The Times They Are A-Changin'." Dylan got blown off the stage by crap.
Joan Baez?
No. Tracy Chapman blew Bob Dylan off the stage doing "The Times They Are A-Changin'."
Yeah, I love it.
And Dylan was like there. This was like the Bob Dylan 30th anniversary concert, which was broadcast live on the radio, which I listened to at the time, and I've since bought the album. It's a great album.
Great. And look, Charles Torres says, "The Doors, the end." Now, Charles,
there's a reason nobody else has covered that.
The thing is that
don't forget though, this is used in Apocalypse Now.
Yes. But this music's so thematic, okay? So thematic because of Apocalypse Now. How can you listen to that in a background way? I can't.
No, because the music itself is so captivating that you want to listen to the music, and then it becomes distracting.
It's actually very distracting.
There you go. Same deal. And none of them can do it. Doesn't matter how many singers you have. There's that one guy, Mark Marone, the Canadian guy.
I'm sorry, I don't know him.
You know, there's a guy out there, you could find him on YouTube, I'm sure, who does a very good Freddie Mercury. He's not quite Freddie, but he's the closest you're ever going to find. Okay, he's so close that when they did the movie, they felt they couldn't use him because he was too close.
Well, look, John Longshore, what he's saying there, it takes 4 singers to do Freddie Mercury. Yes, it does, because Freddie Mercury, when he was in the studio, actually had 4 to 8 parts to himself. So to enrich the voice, to give it some fatness. But I saw Queen live. Freddie Mercury was fantastic. And you know what, John Longshore?
No. He does in fact know all Canadians.
Oh.
You.
What's the matter with Robert? Hey? What's the matter?
He knows.
You gonna send me some videos? You're gonna piss me
John
off?
Addison. This is the guy I was thinking of. John Addison did the Bridge Too Far soundtrack. A Bridge Too Far sounds like a completely different film, however. I gotta tell you. There you go. This is a good... I mean, again, I would find this distracting, but it's good music, right?
Oh, yeah. And also Sabaton.
Sabaton was mentioned up thread here. Who brought up Sabaton? There you go. Ed Holtzman. Good choice.
Yeah, and Sabaton and Christopher Lee, same bag.
There you go. And then apparently your Keith Urban. I would rather have a colonoscopy than listen to Keith Urban, if you ask. But that's just me. I'll probably get some hate mail about that too.
The Bee Gees are amazing.
This is Keith Urban covering the Bee Gees. That's what I'm telling you.
Like, I mean, even Saturday Night Live, amazing.
There was a whole album done by, God damn it, there was a whole album done by the Foo Fighters of basically disco covers. No, just a few years ago, and it's not bad. It's not bad. Well? It's not bad. It's boy, they don't quite have the harmonies down to the extent that the Bee Gees did. So
there was a band, the Melvins, not the Melvins. Anyways, they did a complete cover of another band's music, and they sounded exactly the same as them. And I thought, what the hell do you use?
I'm not sure who Heather Alexander is, but Enya was mentioned earlier, and I think that might work okay for Burning Banners, actually. So, what do you mean, Jeff got weird? What do you mean, got weird? We've been weird this entire time. Some of the Philip Glass stuff. You're a big Philip Glass guy, aren't you, Dan?
I used to be a massive Glass, and I actually saw him in concert.
Oh, that's cool. He's done some pretty cool stuff, too.
Yes, I have his Einstein on the Beach, his Glassworks. I have his Koyani Skratzi. I actually went to see the movie and the orchestra.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I haven't listened to that much Philip Glass, but what I have heard, I've liked quite a bit. Oh, there you go.
Glass and Bowie. You can listen to Glass and Bowie.
Yes, I suppose that's true. So there you go. So, and Holst's The Planets. This is a good choice, too. A variety of different musical themes explored in this suite, if that's what it's called.
It demands too much listening, The Planets. You can't just play in the background, man.
I'm inclined to agree with that personally. They've used the Immigrant Song. It was a kind of a big deal when they managed to get the rights to put it in one of the Thor movies. I think it was Thor Ragnarok, if I'm not mistaken.
You know what? That sounds great to me because that's a Viking piece, man.
Well, that's literally what it's about. So yeah, it is totally what it's about. There's a Dutch metal band called that I can't remember the name of. That's pretty good for this kind of thing. Ardwulf is the name of the band.
No, I never heard of them, man.
Yeah, well, they're Dutch. Why would you have heard of them?
Tool? You mean Tool, the band, the album Vicarious, or the piece Vicarious? Because I'm just getting into Tool, and it's awesome. It's incredible.
Yeah, maybe I should investigate Tool. I have never done so. I'm told Les Claypool is an adequate bassist.
Start with who?
Les Claypool. Isn't he from Tool?
No, he's not. He played with James Maynard.
I might be screwing things up. Who's the bassist for Tool?
Jason Chancellor.
Okay, I have no idea who that is. This is actually a pretty good piece of music too.
I don't know that.
You would if you'd probably recognize the Song of a Volga Boatman. You can find it on YouTube. You probably have heard it actually. So this is the piece of music that heavily inspires Hans Zimmer in the parts of the Gladiator soundtrack too.
Yes, of course.
Oh yeah. Okay, William Byrd is correcting me here. Les Claypool is with Primus.
Yes.
So I've heard a lot of people feel that Les Claypool is the greatest bassist of all time. No, other people feel that Geddy Lee is the greatest bassist of all time. But
I would say Les Claypool is better than Geddy Lee.
But if you ask Les Claypool or Geddy Lee, they will tell you that Chris Squire was the greatest bassist of all time. So
it's true. It's true, man.
So, oh yeah, well it's propaganda music, right? Don't think we didn't have our propaganda music. We certainly
fantastic.
Did. Right. And John Entwistle's really important, but possibly more important than any of the three individuals we just named. But Better? I'm not sure. Very innovative bass player, though. No doubt about that. Yeah, John Entwistle from the Who.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So maybe I will investigate. I don't even know how to spell that.
But hold on a second. Why would you want to start with Anemia? I started with Fear Inoculum, their latest album, and I'm going backwards, man. And I'm flipping out Pot, the hooker with a penis.
I don't. Now Dan has lost me yet again, and thank God for that. I wouldn't go so far as to call this a ripoff of Mars. This piece, which I've listened to a lot because I love the movie and the soundtrack.
Man. Even Robert plagiarized Mars.
Well, maybe, but the point is, I don't think it's quite that close as to constitute infringement. But it's clearly inspired by this piece of music.
As soon as you have that rhythm bass, you can't think otherwise. Same as Ravel's Bolero.
Yeah, there you go. That's good piece of music. I am a fan of Marching Through Georgia by Tennessee Ernie Ford for my Civil War gaming experience. Some people don't like that. Now, for those who don't know, Tennessee Ernie Ford is from East Tennessee. That's important. So there you go. Shostakovich's good too.
Of course.
Bass player for Faith No More. Yes, I also do not know who this individual is. I mean, well, maybe, but I just don't think it's quite that close.
Hold on. Look, as a composer, he said he admitted that he stole it. First of all, he knew from the beginning, and he tried to mask it as best as he can, the rhythm, without breaking the rhythm. But the rhythm is so in your face. It's like the Ride of the Valkyrie. Everybody knows it. That you can't mess with that rhythm.
Yeah, I think I got to defer to you on this, Dan. I don't know the answer to John Longshore's question, but you should ask George Harrison about it. So,
yeah, how could you ever plagiarize anything? You know what, John? Picasso said it. You know, he said artists who borrow are crooks, and artists who steal are innovators.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I am a big fan of Vivaldi's Winter as well, actually. My channel intro video that plays to people that when people first go to the channel page, this is actually the piece of music I used for that. And I think music. Vivaldi's Winter, yeah, from the
first seasons. Screw Vivaldi, take my music.
Well, I needed a piece of music that was a specific length for that video. That's why.
Right, so Vivaldi beats me. Look at that.
And this was, it's part of the YouTube music library. So for those who don't know, there's like a library of generic music that YouTube has available for people to put in videos. And there's some pretty good stuff in there, but it because everybody uses it's real samey.
And you know what? I'm joking about the Vivaldi thing, eh?
Yes, obviously.
Obviously.
Was Tour of Duty the one with Dana Delaney, or was that a different Vietnam show?
I don't know.
Because this Tour of Duty did have good music in it. I can vouch for that. Yeah, well, this is a highly suitable, both thematically and lengthwise, a highly suitable to play during Case Blue.
You're talking about when the Ring, like the Lord.
The whole thing. No, the Wagner's Ring cycle. That's like 75 hours long.
Well, you can play a monster game during that.
That's what I'm saying. China Beach is the show I'm thinking of with Dana Delaney.
Yeah, that was the pretty woman that was in it. Yeah. So,
lumberjacking. Yeah, no kidding. Did I tell you about the tree? I didn't tell you about the tree. This happened last weekend. I don't have the ability to show pictures of this. So we had a big storm blow through over the weekend on Friday night, and a tree came down, took another tree out, shared all the branches off of one side of a third tree, and hit the same shed that had gotten hit by the previous tree. So my entire backyard is full of lumber scraps and bullshit.
Your backyard?
Yes.
You know what, Ardy? Better that The Neighbors.
Well, okay. I like My Neighbors. My Neighbors are pretty good. But I better that than hitting something important like the house or the car or something like that. So I'm tempted to leave that shed where it is just so that trees can hit it instead of hitting important stuff, since it's a complete write-off as a shed already.
You know what it makes me think of? Makes me think of Garp when he was looking to buy a house.
Okay. Are we talking about The World According to Garp?
Yes.
Okay.
When he's there with her, with the real estate agent,
mm-hmm.
and they're looking at the house, and the plane goes right in it, and he says, "I'll take it." When's that ever going to happen again?
Well, I'm not sure I've seen that movie. Possibly not.
Movie.
Well, that's everybody liked it at the time. I don't know about everybody, but some people liked it at the time. Ooh. So anybody that you haven't seen Barry Lyndon, have you, Dan?
Not yet, man. It's like I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, it's terrific.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it also does have amazing cinematography. It's got a good soundtrack. It's Stanley Kubrick. What do you want?
It's a piece of art. It's a piece of art, man.
The problem with this is, so I have put together a Traveler soundtrack that's a huge Spotify playlist. Okay, and I have consciously avoided Star Wars with one exception. Because it is just too familiar. It is everybody. It's instantly recognizable as Star Wars music. And it doesn't really matter which piece of music, the main theme or the Imperial March or Leia's theme or the Force theme, or everybody's incredibly familiar with that. So I don't feel like I can use it. Well, the exception is the soundtrack for Andor, which doesn't sound at all like Star Wars music. And it's great.
It's not written by John Williams.
No, John Williams is retired anyway. He hasn't done a Star Wars movie in a few years now.
Well, Ardy,
yes.
If you have good headphones or a decent sound system, play London Philharmonic Orchestra doing Star Wars: The New Hope. And let me tell you something. You're going to be taken aback.
Oh, I had at one point I had that giant 5-disc or whatever it was Star Wars box set, which has everything, everything at the time, which was the 3 movies plus a bunch of extra stuff, and it's great music. It's just too familiar, right?
Yes, it is. Is Beethoven's Fifth familiar? You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, of course.
Well, that's how long this music is going to last, man. That's how. Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick borrowed lenses from NASA. So that he could film by candlelight. It's amazing. Just amazing cinematography. It's okay. I think it's good. I think it's a well done soundtrack. I don't think it's great music. And in much the same way that I feel about A Bridge Too Far, I like it. It's a cool tune. It's used well in the movie. I'm not sure it's great music.
You know, Ardy, Gettysburg. You made me buy Gettysburg, okay? And
it's a good movie, yeah.
And I watched it, and that's the one with who's the guy in the
Mustache Man?
Yeah.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott, but who's the guy who did the Office? Not The Office, but he was president of the United States in a show. The main character.
Martin Sheen. Yeah, as Robert E. Lee.
Okay, Martin Sheen.
I thought you were going for Richard Anderson, who was at one point the president of the Motion Picture Academy of Arts and Sciences, as I recall, and who also played the boss on Knight Rider. He plays General Meade in that.
Okay.
He's in the movie for a grand total of about 63 seconds.
And I think we were on with Mark Herman, us three, you, Mark Herman, and myself, and we were talking about Gettysburg, and I said, it's too Americana, which is ridiculous, but what I'm trying to say is that they made it seem like it's too clean, it's too perfect, Gettysburg. They made Scarlet, I don't give a damn. What the hell's that movie?
What movie?
Scarlet, frankly, I don't give a damn.
Oh, well, Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, so they made it like Gone with the Windish. They made it very classic, this and this and that. Me, I wanted a bit of blood and guts to come flying out of the guy's mouth.
Yeah,
yes. That's what happened. That's what I wanted to see, man.
Yeah. So the beards in that movie are not the best part of the movie. Let me put it that way. Now I got to tell you that the movie, the soundtrack. God damn it, Dan. The soundtrack to Last of the Mohicans, the main piece of music that everybody recognizes, is a borrowed piece of music that's not original to the movie. It's called The Gale, and it's by some Irish dude named Dougie McDougallson or something like that.
The Last of the Mohicans, right?
Yeah, which is a great movie. It's a great soundtrack, but that piece is not original to the film.
Because the mission is written by Ennio Morricone, and the movie was done before the music was created, and they presented Ennio Morricone with this movie, and he actually declined. He said he cannot do justice musically to this movie. And that music from the mission is legendary. Legendary.
So who did the music?
Ennio Morricone.
So he said no, but they talked him into it.
Well, I'm sure money talks, huh?
Well, okay, yeah. So on the subject of Ennio Morricone, this is a good example. When I said that some music is just too familiar, there are specific times and places where you can use that to your advantage, okay? And the specific piece of music I'm thinking of is The Ecstasy of Gold by Ennio Morricone. If you've got like a face-off happening in your game where it's like a super high-tension face-off, put that on. It will be totally effective. Everybody will recognize it, and everybody will say, this is awesome, it's perfect.
You know, Ennio Morricone is going to go down like Beethoven's going to go down.
Yes. What do you mean?
It's just that, man.
Oh, Ennio, I mean, the just for the good, the bad, and the ugly alone, right?
Jesus, man. I mean, seriously? And the good, once upon a time in the West, sorry, I was thinking about that. Sergio Leone basically created the movie on the music.
I totally believe that. If you've seen the movie, that makes perfect sense. There's almost no movie there. There's like no plot. There's like 10, it's like a 3-hour movie with like 8 minutes of plot. And everything else is just gorgeous cinematography and music and steely-eyed Charles Bronson, okay?
It's an opera. It's an opera.
And kid murdering Henry Fonda.
Oh, my God. Frank, why'd you have to say my name?
What a great movie that is, though.
What a great movie.
So I like soundtracks, actually, for a lot of this type of thing because they're easy to find, and you can often find stuff on a soundtrack that's thematically appropriate because it was in a movie that fits, but that isn't necessarily super duper familiar. Video game soundtracks, too. That Traveler playlist I mentioned, I've got a ton of video game soundtracks from stuff like not a ton of people play, like X4 Foundation soundtrack, and I think I've got some of the Mass Effect music on there and that kind of stuff. So there you go. This is a good piece of music, too.
Brent, I want to comment on what you just said.
This thing?
Background music. There is actually background music, and it started by Eric Satie, which he called furniture music. But to call any music background music, Brent, what's the matter with you? Music is meant to be listened, except background music. Yeah.
That's a good one, too. Yeah, the whole soundtrack and the movie is amazing. So you've seen this movie, right, Dan?
Of course.
Okay, good. But you haven't seen Barry Lyndon.
No, I know. It's like I'm waiting for Mahler and Barry Lyndon in my life.
Okay.
Mahler's going to be something, and Barry Lyndon's going to be something else. And I know Carl Kreider said Gross Point Blank. He's forcing me to watch that. He's harassing me.
It's kind of a fun movie where there's John Cusack is a hitman who goes to his high school reunion, but he has offended the hitman's union, and they send a delegate of hitmen led by Dan Aykroyd to kill him at his high school reunion. No, it's worth your time. Actually, it's a very entertaining film.
Carl's a weirdo. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, weirdo.
Well, we're all weirdos, aren't we? Aren't we? So she's not. I left the door open, so she's demanding attention. She's very demanding.
Oh, nice pussy.
Mm-hmm. Get me demonetized again. So yeah, she's actually you could read it this way, can't you? I've only seen the first John Wick, and I just thought it was okay. I didn't think it was amazing. Everybody else apparently thought it was amazing. Everybody else thought it was amazing. Now, you probably don't know this, but there is a game designer named John Wick, who's an RPG designer, and he's got a YouTube channel called The Real John Wick. Okay. I was very confused when the movie came out. So Ennio Morricone did the soundtrack to The Thing as well, the John Carpenter The Thing. Yes. Now, some of the music, I think that main title theme, I think, is actually John Carpenter, but the rest of the movie music is Ennio Morricone.
And I don't know why he hired Ennio Morricone, because John Carpenter is perfect enough to create the ambient sound of music for his movies, man.
Certainly it's effective in that film, and in something like Prince of Darkness, which is a favorite of mine.
Yeah, look, Friday, Halloween.
Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween, man. Perfect.
Big Trouble in Little China, starring the great James Hong.
He did that.
John Carpenter did Big Trouble in Little China, yeah.
My God, I love that movie.
That's a great movie. And you know what? A lot of people don't, the people that hated that movie, I mean, this is common, right? If you didn't get it, so you don't like it. All you have to do to get Big Trouble in Little China is understand that Kurt Russell is not the main character. Kurt Russell is the sidekick. Dennis Dunn is the protagonist.
I love that movie, man.
And the movie, and it's great. There's even the deleted scenes are fantastic. There's a totally ad-libbed thing. So you remember in the movie where they've got Kurt Russell and Dennis Dunn are tied to the chair, and Lopan comes in, and he's the old withered Lopan in the wheelchair, and it's James Hong, and he's trying to interrogate them. And the classic line is, "You were not put on this earth to get it, Mr. Burton." There's a deleted section of that where there's this bank of television. It's a total ad lib by James Hong. There's this bank of television monitors off to one side in that shot. And suddenly, they're filming the scene, and they're delivering the lines, and suddenly the monitors start going out on the fritz and showing static. And James Hong kind of looks over and says, "Puh, Japanese." It's hilarious. I'm I see why they didn't put this in the movie, but it's hilarious.
Oh, man.
They Live is a great movie, too, actually.
Absolutely. Roddy Piper there.
Yeah, there's a couple of pieces of this that I wouldn't use because they're, again, too familiar, but the rest of the Blade Runner soundtrack is generally great.
Well, would you say it's background music for the movie?
Yeah.
Atmospheric.
Yeah.
For the movie?
It is. It's. I mean, that's what the music does, right? Yeah. It provides an emotional background to what you are seeing on the screen, right? So. Whether that is at the beginning of the movie where you got that gorgeous cityscape, which is, it's unbelievable that they did that in 1983 for one thing. And then you've got that amazing Vangelis soundtrack. I say Vangelis, it's probably wrong. He's dead. He can't stand me anymore. All right. Well, in any case, that guy, great music. And that's setting the emotional stage for the movie, right? So. James Hong is pretty great in everything. James Hong was in he's been in a million movies. He was in Chinatown.
Was he?
Yeah.
Well,
he's I think either John Huston or Faye Dunaway's butler in Chinatown. And he shows up in the sequel too, actually, The Two Jakes, which is not a bad movie. This is possible, and I've seen that, but I haven't seen it since the 80s, and I'm not gonna go investigate it now. So yeah, I love James Hong. James Hong is amazing. So Escape from New York is another really good one, actually. I'm surprised John Carpenter didn't find a spot for James Hong in there as well.
I mean, that movie shot off a movie, a video franchise called Metal Gear Solid, man.
It did?
Yeah, Snake Plissken.
Oh, okay. So I didn't realize that was a direct inspiration.
Direct.
To be honest. Okay. I've never played any of those, so I wouldn't have any idea. So he was in Kung Fu Hustle, and he was in Kung Fu Panda as a voice actor, of course.
And who was the main actor of Kung Fu Hustle, which was fantastic? Well, hold on a second. No, not the Disney one. I'm thinking about the Shaolin Soccer and Kung Fu something.
Kung Fu Panda?
No.
That wasn't... this is a good soundtrack, too. The Master and Commander soundtrack. And if you haven't seen it, by the way, The Bounty with Mel Gibson as Fletcher Christian and Anthony Hopkins as Captain Bligh, and a very young performances by both Liam Neeson and Daniel Day-Lewis. This is a terrific movie.
Okay, thank you.
So Kung Fu Panda, I guess, is what we're talking about. That makes sense.
Kung Fu Hustle. Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle.
All right. I've never seen that. I've never seen Kung Fu Panda either.
Fantastic. Forget Kung Fu Panda. Kung Fu Hustle and Shaolin Soccer.
Okay, I've never seen that either. I don't recognize a lot of this.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 3. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I can imagine that this would absolutely be the case.
Hey,
so, yes.
Do you have Prime?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see the bullshit that they came up with now? That if you don't want ads, it's $2.99 extra?
I believe I did see that. I think that's for certain content. I'm not sure about that. I know that some of the content that was previously, I don't know, because I'm not paying that. And they don't seem to have hit me with ads for most things. For certain things, they do.
They hit me with ads all the time at the beginning, in the middle, and maybe 2 ads. And the thing is that I've been watching Prime Fallout, and it says, this is going to be an ad-free episode. But before we do the ad-free episode, watch these ads. What the fuck?
Well, that's a good time to go hit the can. So, what can I say? I'm not sure I am on Tubi or not. Apparently, I am.
I'm on Tubi.
Because I have it. It's free, right?
Yeah, and it says with ads. Maybe they'll have an ad at the beginning. Maybe they'll have an ad in the middle. Maybe. Okay. Well, you could watch Columbo on Tubi, so, why not? Or that terrible Solomon Kane movie. That's a shitty movie. Vincenzo Beretta, thanks so much for the support. It is much appreciated. Brian, could there be a band of wargame designers? In Italy, they have the band of comic book artists. That's not a bad idea. But I suspect that if there was such a thing, that it would be an old people band, to be honest about it. So it would be like one of those very old jazz acts. You know what I'm saying? That play exclusively in old people clubs. Avevo un amico che si chiamava Bruno Beretta.
So,
da dove sei? Scrivi, per piacere.
Okay, thank you, Dan. I'm trying to figure out what Babylon 5's on Tubi right now. That's worth your time. So, if you haven't seen it. So, I think I signed up for Freevee at one point. Maybe not. Hold on, I'm checking.
John, what's wrong with Murder, She Wrote? You don't like Angela Lansbury? Go check her out when she was 20 in 1925. You tell me.
I don't know anything about that either, but so
Angela Lansbury, she was at that time pinup material.
Okay, I don't know anything about that. I think Angela Lansbury was great. I never watched Murder, She Wrote, though.
That's
so
fine.
There you go, Dan. There you go. English is the official language of the Chit Show.
Is it really? Is it really? Stack, where are you? I don't want to say anything because we're going to be demonetized. I live
Possibly.
here. For God's sakes.
Dan lives there and I live here, and we both speak English some of the time. So God, don't tempt Dan to put up pictures to there will be no screen share this evening. Let me put it that way.
What's the matter with you?
Angela Lansbury was in The Court Jester with Danny Kaye, as I recall, and Basil Rathbone, as I recall.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a very amusing film. Danny Kaye was great.
She was also in The Picture of Dorian Gray, the first one in black and white.
Yes, the good news is Babylon's 1 through 4 are very quick because they all exploded. So, except for Babylon 4, if you watch the show.
I watched the show. I've got the series.
Well, Babylon 4 was the spoilers here, folks, for this 30-year-old TV show. Babylon 4 was the one that went forward in time. Babylon 5 was the one that's like there throughout the show. So, and Babylon's 1 through 3 just exploded.
Hold on. So I got
it's in the
Babylon
show.
5. What's Babylon 1 to 4?
That's Brant being a smartass is what it is.
You know something, Brant? I'm gullible and you're a prick.
Yes. Yeah. Great show, though. I'm a big fan. And that's got a Andrew Alexander Franca. I forget who did the soundtrack for Franca. So Christopher Franca did the sound from Tangerine Dream, did the soundtrack for Babylon 5.
Ah, yeah.
So oh, really? I didn't know that. That sucks.
Yeah.
So, well, it's on Tubi, so check it out. It's great. I rewatched it not a few years ago, and I was a little surprised to find that it holds up as well as it does. However, there is a fault in it that is typical of TV at the time. Remember, Babylon 5 like pioneered like this plot-driven television thing that everybody does now, where it's like one big story as opposed to individual disconnected episodes. Okay. Right. Babylon 5 is the show that popularized that. And I was surprised that it holds up as well as it does. But they do have a tendency to, hey, there's a plot twist. Now we will explain the plot twist in dialogue. And it's a little annoying. But other than that, it holds up really well. The first season, the CGI is pretty, because it's real early CGI too. It's pretty rough, but it gets a lot better moving forward. So
what's Box Lightner? When Box Lightner comes in, it gets better.
That's true, but that's not really because of Box Lightner. It's because the show just got better, right? They did all that stage setting. Some of those first season episodes, people say, "Oh, the first season's really weak." And yeah, there's some dodgy parts of it, but there's some really good episodes in there too. One of my favorite early episodes of the show is called. There's two, like in the first 4 episodes, there's a Londo episode and a Jakar episode, and they're both terrific. The Londo episode is called Born to the Purple. And it's fantastic. And then there's a Jakar episode where there's like assassins after Jakar, and it's these bodies start turning up on the station, and Garibaldi's all over him asking questions, and Jakar's going nuts. It's fantastic. I love Jakar. It's my favorite character on the show.
I was just about to ask you, if you were to be Londo or Jakar, who would you be? I'd be Londo.
I'd probably be Ivanova, to be honest. But my favorite character on the show was Jakar. I love Londo too, but my favorite character.
I have to nail you.
In terms of personality, I am closest to Ivanova.
Oh, for God's sakes! What is this? Your female?
No, it's got none. It's completely gender is completely irrelevant here. Completely irrelevant. I think the people that have watched Babylon 5 and who watch me every week will know exactly what I am talking about. So. And don't forget, Michael York showed up as a crazy man who thought he was King Arthur in that show. So this is true. And this is really sad. I mean, Stephen, the guy who played Dr. Franklin passed away really early. Andreas Kostoulis passed away. He was a favorite actor. He was just amazing in that. And that's like because of the way he looked, he would never be cast as anything other than like thugs or villains. No, Andreas Kostoulis that played Jakar. He died of lung cancer at a fairly young age. Stephen Furst has passed away. Mira Furlan has passed away. A lot of those actors have passed away.
Delenn. Mila Furlan was Delenn.
Yes. Now, she was later on, Mira Furlan later was on Lost, and a lot of people will know her from that.
Oh, shit. I didn't see it. I didn't make the connection.
Yeah. I actually don't think this is correct. I think that Miller in The Expanse is a Sam Spade ripoff, right? Not necessarily Garibaldi, but Garibaldi's got a little bit of that sort of noir detective DNA, too.
Yeah.
So
it's very thespian.
Vincenzo is not wrong, is he? He is definitely Karl Barks, the Uncle Scrooge McDuck guy. So, I remember this with the space hippies. That was absolutely cringe with the space hippies. I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of space hippies in the original Star Trek. But when you say those space hippies in the original Star Trek, there's a specific episode that you're thinking of, and everybody else who has seen that episode knows exactly what episode you're talking about. The one with the space hippies.
The 60s, man.
So, yeah, I was not a big fan of the Flash Gordon serials, no, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. I was not a big fan of the Buck Rogers sequels. The Flash Gordon serials were actually pretty good. At one point, I was making a point to watch old serials, and a lot of them were actually pretty fun. There's one called, I don't remember the name of it, but there's like a Superman one and a couple of Batman ones, and one with the Shadow, which is not bad. There's a Captain America one that had Lionel Atwell as the villain, absolutely unrecognizable as Captain America, to be honest. But the Lionel Atwell, who played like the magistrate in the original Frankenstein, the original James Whale Frankenstein with Boris Karloff. He's the villain in that Captain America sequel, and he's awesome. He makes the whole thing worth watching. So. We never pretended that this is entertainment for wargamers here, folks. Sometimes we have interviews and we ask serious questions and stuff like that, but other times we talk about random stuff, and this is one of those nights.
Which is good, man. Which is good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was on. A lot of people know Stephen First Best from St. Elsewhere, though. Don't forget that. Now he was on that for a million years, because it was on for a million years. So it's interesting to look back on that show today and see George Clooney and Denzel Washington and all these people that became big stars much later. I have a hard time watching a lot of old movies just because they feel dated. But then you'll watch something like Casablanca or The Maltese Falcon, the one with Humphrey Bogart, and it was like, wow, this movie is awesome. Holy cow.
Look at the actor, man. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, my favorite character in the Maltese Falcon is my favorite actor in the Maltese Falcon, as far as performance in the movie, is Peter Lorre. Actually, he's amazing.
Amazing.
Love Peter Lorre in that.
Did you see M?
No, I have not seen that. Actually, that's a Fritz Lang film, but with Peter Lorre, that's basically all I know. I think that was on my list of things I wanted to watch, and it just kind of floated away into the breeze. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, great performance by Peter Lorre and a great movie. Totally worth your time. There's a Amazon original right now that just came out in the last month or two called Monsieur Spade. It's about Sam Spade, the detective Sam Spade, played by Clive Owen, and he retires to France, where he swiftly becomes embroiled in a murder. So it actually looks pretty cool.
Well, on Prime, there's Liam
that is
Neeson,
on Prime.
Liam Neeson doing a show called Marlowe.
Does that have Liam Neeson in it?
Yes, he's Marlowe. He's basically Bogart. I love Liam Neeson. He's like Francis Ford Coppola's nephew. What's his name? Fucking name. I forget. Did you freeze Ardy? Ardy froze. I'm alone on the show and I can do what I want. I could sing a song and I could strip naked for you, but I won't. But I won't because of YouTube bloody guidelines. Hey, and I okay. Hello, 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 everybody, hello. I need something. Hey, hello, hello. Hey, what's going on? What the hell is going on? Let me tell you something. We were talking about what? There's our.
There we go. There we go.
What the hell is going on?
All right.
Hello.
Can you at least hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I want to sing and dance.
But my video is frozen for reasons unknown. This was one of my mysterious, all the USB devices have disconnected.
And that handsome face you have the Kirk Douglas ass thing on the chin. Look at you, man. You're just a handsome devil, aren't you?
All right, folks, it's time to go. Anyway. All right, I guess the timing is okay since we're having technical difficulties. Anyway, this has been fantastic and tons of fun here tonight, folks. So I want to thank everybody for coming out. Dan, we'll see you next week. We're going to have a special guest. Our special guest next week will be Clint Warren Davey, who will be here to talk about his latest effort. Is called 1 Hour World War II, and it looks pretty interesting. All right.
Okay, Ardy.
All right, so everybody have a great rest of the night. All right.
Big move. Big win. The moose is loose. Big move. Big win. The moose is loose. Big move.